About color, black or white, binary or non-binary, color or no color, right? That's what AI is. We're talking AI today, and I often say AI is the black and white, it's the binary, and you are the color. It needs you. Don't let AI take your color. So today I thought I might chat with Michael about AI, how colorful it is, what it can do, what it can't do, what it should do, what it shouldn't, and maybe what we should and shouldn't do with it. So welcome to the Social Butterfly team, where we go live each week talking about all things that are happening in the business space, from marketing, sales, systems, tech, and anything in between. I'm joined weekly by Michael Clift, my business coach, who is mastering chaos to accelerate profits and free you from your business. Hi, Michael. He always comes in dancing. And I'm Katrina from Butterfly Media, and we shine a light on amazing people doing amazing things using the power of the internet. So speaking of tech and internet, AI, Michael, what's your thoughts? Straight off the bat, is it good or bad?
It's neither.
Oh, all right.
It's how we use it. It's no different to anything else. Nothing is good or bad. It's how we perceive it and what we use it for and how we apply our emotions to it, right? So it can be used to make things more beneficial for us. It also can be used for some very bad things.
It's funny, it reminds me of a coach I heard say this, and funnily enough, I'm not sure if it was you, but I dare say you'll know this. It's like nothing has meaning until we give it meaning. So nothing on this planet means anything until we put some meaning behind it. So that would be the same with AI, obviously.
I was talking about it in a workshop yesterday, but I don't think you're on that one. So.
And is that what you said?
I was talking about nothing is good or nothing is bad. It's just how we choose to experience it.
So on that then, AI's scared a few people when it's come out. When I say AI, I'm currently referring to ChatGPT and those sorts of tools. There are a couple of others, and the space is moving very quickly as people bring out new sorts of tools around this. But AI's been out for ages, right? It's not just chat that came out last year. You know, what can you roll off right now that you've been using AI with for years?
What do you think all the social media algorithms are run off?
For starters, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, I can't use AI. It's like, you have been since 2004, 2002, 2004.
Like go look at all of the computer programs that you've been running forever and a day.
Look at your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Even before that, it's been going for quite a while. So it's not an overnight sensation. As I often say, it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation. So AI has come of age, possibly, or starting to come of age. It's the AI revolution.
Yeah, well, it's when AI starts training AI that's when it gets a little bit interesting.
When it trades or trains?
Trains.
Yeah, right. That's cool. My brain's
they reckon that the ChatGPT 4 has like the equivalent IQ of like 155, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's, I don't want to say significantly, but reasonably above the average person.
It's being fed, like say chat itself has been fed for the last 18 months by us, right? So being left out into the open source, we've been telling it what we want, training it, if you like, for what we want. So it's a massive, massive storage of all of our knowledge in a multitude of different languages at different levels. You've got high-level professionals feeding it, and then you've just got, the standard business owner saying, this is what I want to get done, can you do it for me? All across the world. So it's a massive storage house of information, which is almost scary. And you think, we've fed it, we've taught it at a global scale. That's scary.
Especially with what people have accidentally put in there. Just as a quick thing, anyone that's listening, don't put your trademark proprietary information in there. Unless you have Copilot or something that's closed loop, because it's still training off all of that. So you put your trademark, your proprietary information in there, it's learning off that. So if someone puts something in there asking around that area, it has that to draw from. Samsung was a prime example. One of their technicians put all their schematics for a new device that they were bringing out on there, and another person in a different place in the world asked some questions around it and got the full schematics from ChatGPT.
That's interesting. So that leads me to the question, like I've literally got ChatGPT open up next door to us here, and I've asked Chat, what should we talk about, Chat? About you, right? But the first question
Okay.
where I wanted to go with that was, what did you just say about schematics? No, it's gone now. I just wanted to ask it about closed loop. No, that's right. What is open source, right? Because I don't know whether a lot of people understand how it works. So rather than me say the wrong thing, so if we just go, what is open source? And I'll share the screen in a minute, so that we can figure it out. So it'll just come back and say, yeah.
Next time we do this, we'll have to get ChatGPT set up with voice so it can talk as well, and then it can speak the answers.
I could. Next time I could. It's like, because
next time.
Yeah. In, right?
Let's not mess around with it live, but next time let's do that.
All right, so let's see what it's saying, right? Entire screen. I don't want to freak you out, Michael. Every time I do this, you go, whoa. So I'll move us over there, make this a little bit bigger. So that's its answer, right? So it's open source. It's an access to source code, openly available to the public. All right, so there's that. Collaborative development. So open source projects often encourage collaboration. So the idea is for it to be open to the public, and for everybody to see it, right? Free distribution, which means, again, it's open to the public, right? Licenses, which is super interesting. So open source software is released under licenses that specify how the software can be used. So this I'm going to highlight because I've asked Chat what its benefits and restrictions are. And one of the restrictions that's come out with is sometimes it says the wrong thing. So we're going to lean into the truth of the matter around what Chat speaks about. Community support and transparency and security. So since the source code is open, it can be audited by anyone, which can lead to more secure and reliable software. Problems and vulnerabilities can be identified and fixed quickly by a community, but they can also, like anything, when these things get in the wrong hands, can be a bit difficult. So that's Chat, that's open source. That's why when you stick in your private information, anyone can get it. Having said that, they have just brought out the team workspace, which they believe and say that that's a private closed loop. So if you
so that's from that's going through Microsoft. So in your Microsoft 365 workspace, they run Copilot through that, which is Microsoft, just ChatGPT plugged into that. So one of my clients, IT service provider, he's running all that at the minute. So we're looking at, once he's all over that, that will go in the back end of all of our systems as well. Because so effectively, just as a real quick thing is, let's say I put a whole heap of notes in OneNote, Microsoft OneNote all the time, right? So I can go to Copilot, which is in all of my 365, and talk about, okay, cool. Can you go through my notes and highlight all the references to XYZ? And it'll pull back that all information for me. Or I can go through and go, hey, what are the emails that I've missed over the last 3.5 weeks that I haven't replied back to? And it'll be able to pull those up and give me that information.
Is this plug into Google?
Look, I'm not 100% sure. Like this is what I've been told. I haven't played with it yet. This is what I've been told. So these are the examples that I was given, and that's what I'm parroting back. So
all right, this is interesting because that workspace space has got some glitches, which it would at this early stage, right? But it looks like it's going to be something beneficial. And when it comes to working with clients and spaces like that, and you want to keep that privacy down.
Yeah, but my booking calendar is in that too, so it's going to have access to effectively be like a virtual assistant, because I'll be able to get it to them. Like if I'm talking to it, I'll be able to just have the plugin and go, all right, cool, can you book this on this date, this time, everything like that, send me through confirmation.
Oh, okay, let's get this into Google. So this is literally cutting out your admin or your assistant work and the need for a team member.
The way I look at it is, I don't look at it as cutting out. It makes people more efficient, right? Because suddenly we've got a way to, like we were talking earlier about leverage off air, and it's like, okay, so how do we get more with less input? Well, if I can go set up a meeting with myself and one of the team members with XYZ, blah, 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 and they go and do it, awesome. and shoot through a quick note to this person to go do this. If they then use the AI to go and do all that searching and stuff for me and contribute, because like, you know, AI is a little bit janky at the minute. You got to get the prompts right, otherwise it doesn't do what you want. Because, you know, same with people, it's all about communications and expectations, right? So it's one of the bigger, like, and I don't want to go off in complete tangent on Copilot, but it's something that's I think is going to be hugely beneficial, to the point that the way that I'm looking at it is I'm actually looking to get someone to come in and talk about it once I'm in the process of rolling out a new program when we're doing that, so that we actually have someone that comes and talks to all our clients about it and the potential benefit of it, because I think it'll be a big change for a lot of people and save them a ton of time.
It's almost a segue into the GBTs, which I'll come to. But what I thought today is what we might chat about is how the good and the bad and the ugly of AI and what it means for now and sort of into the future, because trust is paramount in business, paramount in all of your messaging and your marketing and your delivery. And I'm finding a lot of people are starting to use chat, and you can tell, and it breaks trust.
We can tell. Not everyone can tell, but we can tell.
It's funny. The reason I say we is because I was going to say because I'm working with chat every day. And let me preface this, you know, chat is a major team member of our company, right? And we use chat to create, like, I interview 10 to 15 people a week on different various stages of what we're doing in our business, right? So it'll be either clients trying to get their stories or clients getting their stories down, right? I interview a lot of people. I get notes down. I run it through chat to create stories in a certain brand voice, and it comes back amazing. Even the client loves the story, right? It's on brand, it's authentic, it sounds great. Chat just cuts down the workload. So chat is a part of our life. I would die without chat. Like, what did we do before
that
chat,
is a
right?
little bit dramatic, but like, I hear you, I get it.
But what did we do before chat? Like, was there a life before chat? Seriously. So, you know, I use it every day. So I know how to make it sound authentic or look authentic, or I know how to drive it so that it delivers authentic results, right? More to the point. But I was on one of my own academy calls last night talking to my students, and they are very brand new at it. We actually had a chat session last night, and they said, oh my God, I can just see it a mile away. And they're not on it anywhere near as much as I am. They can see the emojis, the way it's written. It's just everything starts to sound the same.
The emojis are becoming a real telltale sign. It loves emojis.
It doesn't it? Yeah. And in the realm of, but you know, it's got its things. So that's why you've got to train it. And
if you say create a Facebook post, it's just going to throw as many emojis everywhere it possibly can in it.
It does, right? It does. And then in the realm of your industry, this is happening right now. And I'm like, oh, killing me.
Furthermore.
Yeah. So chat's got its style and it shows, right? Which is where it comes back to my original comment around it's the binary, the black and white, you are the color. So let's talk about driving ChatGPT for your benefit rather than to your detriment, because that'll start to break trust. So I said to chat today, we're going live today. What can we talk about in relation to it? Because I don't want to bring all my opinions into it, right? Let's see what the world says out there, and just trying to be a little bit unbiased, because I remember when it first came out, I was like, my God. And I think a lot of the time with it goes into learning how to use it, right? You spend a lot of time figuring out how to drive it, read what it writes, fix it, train it, and in the end you're like, oh. So I said to chat, what do you know? Right? Tell me what you think, chat. So it's come up with, I'll just move us out of the way. These are the sorts of comments it's come up with, right? So I've said here, and one thing I love about chat, right, is when you ask it a question. So I said, can you give me 4 amazing benefits of using chat for a small business owner, right? I love how it goes, certainly, right? It's so happy to share and work with you. You get so excited by working. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. We're going to have fun, right? So customer service and support, chat thinks is a great system. I haven't done this. I'd love to know if anyone out there has used it for customer service and support and how that's worked. I know a lot of people are integrating it this way to answer all of those standard questions and even bring in some automation. I'd love to know if anyone's using it that way. Have you done that at all, Michael?
I've talked about it a lot. I've had people setting up chatbots using it. I haven't specifically done it myself. Um, One of the things that it's really good for is FAQs. So
Hmm.
going through and having loading all your FAQs and stuff like that in there, so that when people ask us questions, it's got all that information there. Um, and then setting it up so that it can notify you when a conversation needs to go further.
You're right. Okay. That's how you do it. So it's a matter of getting it written in here and then putting it in your programs that automate it to a degree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. So
Cool.
I love it. If any of you guys, anyone out there's used it for your customer support, I'd love to hear about it. That's super interesting. Yeah, you're going to say something, Mike?
I was going to say, we've got a question.
Oh, I
Good
can't see it
chat.
from my screen.
Okay. Hi, Katrina and Michael.
What is
Are
it?
there any specific technologies or trends you're curious about? Are you inquisitive in using AI tools, diving into the metaverse, or exploring blockchain applications? Which of these would work? If both, then how? Oh, I have so many answers to this.
I'm just going to move my screen over so I can see what you're looking at. So what was that? Go for that again, Michael. What did you say?
Hi, Katrina and Michael. Are there specific technologies or trends you're curious about? Are you inquisitive in using AI tools, diving into the metaverse, or exploring blockchain applications? Which of these would work? If both, then how?
Okay, go for it, Michael. What's your thoughts?
Okay, right now, AI tools that I am focused on is totally about small business and how do we leverage our time for efficiencies. So, an example of something that I've started using religiously, which Katrina's experienced, is that when I do coaching sessions, I now have my Fathom AI chatbot that is part of the coaching session. What that does is that gives us a video recording of the coaching session. It also gives us a full transcription. It gives the key points, the takeaways, the topics that we talked about in bullet point form, as well as because I run my sessions with wins, challenges, and the action points, it has all of that in there. So those are the kinds of things that I'm really looking for with AI right now. I so anything to do with AI and what I'm inquisitive is just really about how we're increasing efficiencies for businesses so that they can leverage their team more as well. I'm not about replacing people. I'm all about how do we make the most out of the people that we have and make their roles easier. Because I'm the kind of guy that if you can get us the outcomes in 25 hours a week, I'm still going to pay you the same. I'm all about that because then why would you ever want to leave? Because you get paid the same as 40 hours for 25 hours and I've made your job easier. So I'm right on point with that. So that's a lot of what I'm looking at right now. From a blockchain application, I really want to talk about that because of deep fakes. Now, if people haven't heard, video right now is where you want to spend your time. You want to get on video, you want to talk. It's really important because people remember like 10% of what they read, but they'll remember up to 90% of what they see you talking about. So, and it's something that I personally was doing a lot more than I am now. And I've just started someone off this week so I can get back into doing a lot more video. And where blockchain comes into that is deep fakes. Because the problem with AI is it's too easy to make deep fakes of people. Now, do I think people are going to be out there making deep fakes of me? No. But I do think that it's going to get to the point that there's so many deep fakes out there that what we're actually going to need to do is use blockchain to tie back to prove that those videos are us, and
You're
because
right.
that's where that technology I think will apply to it. I haven't really looked at the metaverse. I mean, uh, I think that they're onto something, and I can see it being a thing. But like right now, what I've found, especially locally, like if you're working locally, get out in front of people, right? Like that's go be personal in front of people because there's a lot of people out there that are not getting what they want from the digital space and they're not getting that connection. And the fastest way to grow it locally is in person. And then metaverse may work from like an international level, but I've still found that the networking, even just in the digital, like social media spaces, is because that's where people are at. The problem with the metaverse right now is just people aren't there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting when it was launched too. Facebook changed its name, then they brought the metaverse out, then all the conspiracy theories came on it. And there was all this, one player or one ready. What is it? Ready one player one or something?
Ready Player One. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all of that, right? But I think with everything new, it's scary. All the new stuff is scary. The thing with the metaverse is there was talk around it, ultimately being an implant, and that's where it starts to get extreme. So if you've got glasses and goggles and you stay in that world and just don't take the goggles off, that's one aspect, but at least you can. But, there was a whole conversation around shipping and, people in my world were ready for it. They just wanted to be able to check Google while they were talking to you and keep going, right? So that's the end game for the metaverse. People are sort of gone, oh, hang on a minute. I'm not sure if I'm ready for Elon Musk and, all of that world, right?
Well, those people are still getting chipped regardless. So...
well, yes. Yeah. So
because that is happening, because that's happening with a lot of patients right now that quadriplegics and stuff like that, to help them with it. Like they're basically the test cases. So
yeah, super interesting with that and the meta, because the way that was brought out, with Mark Zuckerberg, it was interesting the way he described it in the videos and stuff that he used to bring it out. And I think that Ready Player One was right there, right? So it's like anything. 2029,
well,
by then.
It's just the innovate. It's just the curve, the bell curve, right? Like there's there's early adopters that you've got right here, and then you've got the next 11% that you got in, and then you've got your next 32% that need to see the proof of all the people that are down here, and then the 32% after that need to see all of these other people and have experienced it, and they need some convincing, and then you come to the back end. And these people would still have the dial phones if they could, so they're probably never getting on the metaverse, and that's okay.
Yeah, but that's the last reserve, right? They're the ones that only come along because there's nothing else left.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Which is fine. So that's really interesting, Shivani. Thank you for that question. When it comes to blockchain, I don't know enough about it to talk to it. And the metaverse, I have played in it, had a look around, or even thought about buying property, all of those sorts of things. I've had a look. It's another world, literally, that you can set up and start to create. There's definitely opportunity in there. I have a friend that has a shop in the meta. So there's opportunity, lots of opportunity. It's a parallel, if you like, universe that, it's got some traction in it. If it keeps having its traction, then it's just another opportunity, really, another space to work in ultimately. So I'm sure, I like, Michael, your thoughts on the blockchain bringing it back to reality, or at least back to the original creator. That's super interesting. So I think, Shivani, they probably both work. I'd love your opinion on it. If you want to drop your comment in there, that'd be fantastic. If you're exploring them, and if anyone else is, that'd be great to hear. All right, that was awesome. There's so many different ways that we can take it. I'm still over here on chat. All right, little baby chat. So, all right, let's continue on then. Chat says it can do some market research, right? And I agree with this. Having said that, you've got to still research it, right? So we use chat to create some marketing strategies for us and our clients at scale. Depending on the prompts we give it, it can create some pretty powerful strategies very quickly that we can then monitor and sort of take a look at and say whether it's worthwhile us doing what chat says, or at least incorporating some of it. And we're able to create 12 months very quickly, analyze it pretty quickly, and make sure that chat's on the money. At this stage, you still need to know what you're doing. We have a market research element in our strategies, and based on what comes back from chat, we can say, yep, or, we'll obviously go out and take a look at our own research and see what it says. Most of the time, it's not too far wrong in a generalized sort of statement. It'll say the IT industry for this particular client in this area, is struggling because it's remote and there isn't a lot of need for it, right? Or it'll say there's a lot of competition in this area because it'll pick up it's a big city. So its general results are okay. If you want to get down to specifics currently, although we'll take a look at these GBTs currently, you have to do a bit more research. You can upload some websites to Chat 4 and get it to read it. You got to fight with it a little bit, but it can read some sites. So as long as you provide it with a lot of data, it'll be able to give you a beautiful report, I find. Your thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things that, it's not going to go, all right, cool. I want to find out how people like put proposals together and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking of right now is IT service provider client. What we did is we went out to 25 other IT service providers that were targeting the same kind of things and everything like that. And we had someone on the phone getting proposals off all of them. And we got to see exactly how they laid it out, what they were costing things at, how different everyone was. And then we also got to see how terrible some of those things within the industry was, which gave us a huge advantage when we went through and set it up. So it's good, but it's gonna get you started if you don't have anything, and probably get you like 50 to 80% of the way there. But if you're serious about going and doing that market research, it's probably through ChatGPT not quite at the point that it's going to go and like actually contact people and run polls for you and stuff like that. So, but it can tell you what are good polls that you could run against audiences, and it can help you create a survey, and it can help you do things like that, which are really important to do. So,
yeah, and all your email marketing, landing pages. If you wanted to do all of that heavy lifting, wow, you can do all of that. So, but for market research and insights more so, it's super interesting that a language system is providing insights, right? So it's just a language model.
You know what's funny is I don't know if you've tried Bard with that, but I've actually found that Bard is a little bit better with the market research than what ChatGPT is.
I haven't. You keep telling me that. I have to look into it. So there's another piece of tech to look into.
You have to prompt it a little bit differently, but because it's backed into Google, it's like it just has better access, and that's why I found it's a little bit better.
Okay, I can see a few things.
Yeah.
All right, so then it goes on to content creation and management. So this is iffy, right? Oh, this is iffy. Like, it's great, yes. So good to create content and so good to help you manage your content and help with systems and strategies. And we use it. One of our team members, she's amazing, Christine, created an amazing prompt system to prompt chat to give us a certain type of result. So it takes somebody that understands the systems and knows how to talk to something like this to teach it to do something at scale. Like she's able to say, chat, do this, reply this way. She's worded the prompts so that it provides exactly what we're after. It's incredible what she's created, and I'm so pleased to have her. She's an incredible part of our team. Without her, I don't think I would know how to drive chat as well. So she was on a mission to understand the tech when it came out, and she's doing very well, and her knowledge just keeps getting better. So it does have a great content creation and management sort of application, but you need to know how to ask for it. And it's literally like...
It's really like the way that I'd encourage anyone that's looking to use it for this. There's two things. The first one, whatever it spits out, don't take that as gospel. However, you can make it really, really close to where you want it to be. So you only do a few tweaks, and it's by feeding it better information. Because and I was listening to some of the people that are like, I can't remember the guy's name now. The guy that runs King Kong, the marketing.
King Kong. Subri?
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast that he's on, and obviously he's quite a good marketer, and he's got some really good copywriters and stuff like that. And he was talking about how they've treated it is instead of hiring another A-player copywriter, he's like, I'm going to take all of the training that I would do for that person, and then I'm training ChatGPT on it so that my team have more access. So he's like, your prompt might be 1 or 2 lines. Mine's 1,500 words.
Yeah, exactly. It's how much you put into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so. And I find if anyone out there's using it for content, do write your own content. I've said this a million times. Write your own content first and then pop your posts in there so it starts to hear your brand voice and understands what you sound like. And then that's a fast way to get it to sound like you. Otherwise, it's, yeah. And Chat 4 learns very quickly what you sound like. So do write your content first and then pop it in and say, make it sound like this, and it will. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack around the content space, but it does take off a lot of the heavy lifting. And then business operations and planning takes a lot of the heavy lifting here. Stuff you haven't even thought of. It's like, I think it's great for a small business owner to come in here, get some ideas. But again, I would then very much say go talk to somebody who knows what they're doing before you start running a business off the back of what Chat says. And there's been some funny and very cool TikToks that have come out where people have done this, right, and created businesses based off what Chat has said. And they've done all right, right? They've made some money fairly quickly. So it's not too far wrong. It's just, this is your business, right? So you just want to get a professional to take a look at it. Chat isn't ready to be relied on like that. What do you think?
So I'll just talk to what I'm actually doing with it. So let's say that as a value add, I go to a client, hey, because obviously I'm helping them with coaching and getting in a position, and we're talking about what they're going to do. And sometimes we come across things that they've never done before. And rather than them starting with a blank page, I'm like, cool, let me give you a framework that you can then go work off. So instead of me taking 3, 4, 5 hours to go do it for myself, I go start talking to Chat about it and go, this is what I want. This is what it feels like. This is how it looks. This is what we've got to include in it. And it takes me 20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And suddenly I've just gone, cool, I have a lot more leverage now, because instead of 5 hours, it's taken me 40 minutes. Let's call it 40 minutes. And then I can effectively do that 6 or 7 times instead of once.
Yeah, totally. That's the difference. So it's a great tool. Fantastic tool.
But if you don't know what you want and you're asking for it, you are going to get something pretty generic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like training a staff member, isn't it? I often say it's
exactly the same.
And what I'm about to say now has got nothing to do with staff members, but it's like on a good day it's 8 years old, and on a normal day it's 4, right? So we're gonna go like, okay.
Well, it might feel like that, but if the IQ is rated 155, is it that we're talking to it like an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old?
Exactly right.
As opposed to because if you're talking to me like an 8-year-old, guess what kind of answers you're going to get back? If you talk to me like a 4-year-old, guess what kind of answers you're going to get back, right?
So yelling at it going, that's not right, Chat, isn't the answer.
And look, I'm not going to lie. I have been guilty of, I want it to do something, it's not doing it. I'm like, I pay for you, go do it. And suddenly it's doing it. I'm like, I don't know that's how I was supposed to talk to it, but thank you.
Oh God, I haven't used that one. Chat and I have fights, right? Yeah. Unbelievable. And my team and I, we joke about it. I go, have you fought with Chat today? They go, yeah, we fought with Chat today.
one of my clients sent me a message because they asked it to act as a computer engineer, I think it was, or something. Or, no, they were like, you are a computer engineer with this much experience doing this and doing that. And it just comes back going, no, I am an AI model. And I was like, okay, put act as a, and then it goes and does it because you put act as a. But it's like, and I'm like, it's like I've just spoken to my 4-year-old daughter. It's like,
yeah, the skills all in the prompts, right? It's all in the prompts. All right, so that's the positives that Chat reckons it can do. There's probably a million others, guys. If you're using it for other things, please drop it in the chat because it's a powerful tool. As Gary V said when it came out, and Gary's done a lot for the social media space in a while, and then got the likes of some others that have sort of taken over that scene, but sometimes he still nails it, right? And he said that it was like a tractor when the Industrial Revolution hit. So when the tractor came out, the farmers were like, wow, what can we do here? And it's very true. I can't not step away from that thinking. It's like you need to know how to plow the field to work the tractor, right? And you
I
also
think the number, sorry just to interrupt, but I think the number is it was like 70 or 80% of the workforce actually worked out in the farms when the tractors came in. Like it was a massive number. And then tractors come in and it's completely dislodged the workforce.
Yeah. So ultimately it's that, isn't it? But you still need to know, number one, how to plow the field, and number two, how to drive the tractor.
Yeah.
So
I'm literally looking at it from the sense of if I can have people that can work for me for 20, 25 hours a week, even less, we can get really great outcomes for businesses still. And I can pay them great amounts of money and then they can go do everything else that they want to do. That's amazing.
Oh, totally.
Like why wouldn't we want to do that? Like people can actually live the life that they want to live instead of feeling like they're a slave to actually coming and working constantly. And not that I think that we probably necessarily work as that's not fair. Talking to the business owners in the room, I was about to say not that I think that we necessarily work as much as we used to. That's not true at all. But like as your general 9 to 5, there's still some of it, but I think people have pushed back a lot to set boundaries in place comparative to when I was in my 20s and like I would even younger when I was 18. I remember like I would go in and start work at midnight and I wouldn't leave till 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, what to do with all that energy?
Yeah. I'm going to work more because I'm obsessed, but like that's okay. Not everyone else that works for me needs to be like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's super cool. It's just big shifts happening, big shifts. All right, so let's take a look at some of the things that it can't do at the moment, and as it says that it can't do. Which,
hey Tommy, thanks for loving the life. Glad you like it.
I haven't.
There's chat. You can't see the chat.
No, I can't.
Tommy Murphy's popped in and said, hi, Katrina and Michael, loving the life.
Hey, Tommy. It's good that you're loving life. That's fantastic. I don't know why I can't see the chat. You must be able to.
It's all right. I've got us covered.
I know, it's great. The teamwork's unbelievable. All right, so let's take a look. There's my beanie, by the way, that everyone can see there. So just make sure that we can make that bigger. So this is the. Sorry?
She's so little in that photo.
Oh, she's just a baby. These again. So can you give me 4 disadvantages, right? So chat's come in, and this is just off the top, right? I haven't drilled right down into it. So limited understanding of complex and specific business contexts. If you just ask off the bat, can you do this for me? Then it's going to be limited, I'm sure. And I know that if you feed it the information, it can come back out with some pretty crazy stuff. Like yesterday, a new GBT allows you to find diagrams, and I'll show you that in a minute. There's some cool stuff, right? So anyway, if you don't feed it properly, it's got some issues around complex or specific business contexts, but I think once you feed it, it can get pretty specific. Thoughts, Michael?
Absolutely. I just keep coming back to it's just like training. If you want a really good team member that you're going to develop for the future, you've just got to develop them, give them more, support them, get good at how you communicate in such a way. Like just a very brief example, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday and he was talking to the team and one person thought they were working on or thought the other person was working on the project and the other person thought they were working on the project and everything was great except for that one missing piece. And he just goes to him, okay, so at any point did either of you say, hey, you're taking lead on this? And neither of them have. So that's like that little missing piece you're going to find for a lot of the prompting and stuff like that you're doing and the missing context is going to come around. It actually does have all of that understanding if we impart it or if we speak to it in such a way that it can understand what we're talking about. Because the difference is, like with the access to information, the difference is the lack of context from us to be able for it to deliver on the complex.
Very true, isn't it? It kind of makes you a boss, doesn't it? You're kind of number one, got to learn how to articulate things.
Yeah.
And then talk to chat like it's a team member and work with it. Like we do. We wrestle with the ideas, Chat and I find. And so do our team, right? We're like, no, not quite. This is what we're after. We wrestle for a bit until we get there. So it's not just, hey, can you go do this for me, Chat? It will, but so it's saying here dependence on data and privacy concerns. So as we've just touched on, there is that concern at the moment because it's completely open source. Things can slip through the system here, especially while discussing sensitive business information. It's saying here, be cautious about sharing proprietary information, as you just said, right? So you can talk around it. But yeah.
Yeah, look, there's so I've got like my MTPL method and I talk around that when I'm going through and setting things up and I want to talk about it and I will like want to bounce things off it, but I don't specifically go, this is what we do, this is exactly how we do it, this is what it feels like. Admittedly, if a coach came up to me and needed support and wanted to talk about it, I would tell them, but it's a little bit different talking one-to-one when I can see someone. I don't want to tell them, I won't, right? Like, but if I put it into there, anyone can access it if they ask the right thing.
This one is, I'm passionate about this one at the moment. So lack of personalization and human touch. So I'll say this a lot, it's black and white. You're the color. It needs you. It's just an inverted reality, right? It's our life inverted. It's just a carbon copy of what we're doing. And that's kind of where it's headed with the whole AI system, right? It's literally trying to replicate life, ultimately, where it's headed, if we want to open up that can of worms. So it's black and white. It needs color at the moment. It doesn't have consciousness, for want of a better word.
I just think it'll get closer and closer. Like there's already people that are training it on personality. So I was looking at one of there's actually a lady on LinkedIn that trains AI bots for you to so you have a bot that will talk very similar to you based off like your content, all the stuff that we feed it, sort of give very similar responses and everything like that. And Lara Costa, I don't know if you know who she is on LinkedIn, but she had the lady do up one for her. So she's probably one of the more I'm going to say influencer people on LinkedIn, but she is an entrepreneur. She's quite from what I've seen anyway. Like she's not I'm not actually doing the thing. She's out there doing the thing kind of influencer. And she got a bot made up, and I was looking at some of the people that are in her group going, oh my God, we were talking to that bot and it feels like we're talking to you. So I think that I think a lot of that will come. I just think there's a lot of people that aren't good at doing that. But people are buying the girlfriend bot experiences and stuff like that already, right? So, and the personalization and lack of human touch comes from the way that we're driving because we don't know how to drive it.
It's super interesting about there's an industry already.
Empathy can be trained, right? Personalized responses can be trained. Values can be trained. Like they're not things that are inherently born into us. They can be trained.
Okay, so you program the AI.
It's no like this. It's a little bit controversial, but it's no different to programming a person.
Yeah.
Right. And it's getting smarter and smarter. So, but before we move on to the next one, though, I want to answer Tommy's chat question. So, does that cover that part of it off before I go over to shiny things?
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah, I'd be interested. What I'm laughing at or finding interesting is already there's a new industry spawned where there's people training bots for you. Right, I love that.
Oh yeah, there's this lady that's made over $1 million just on selling herself as like a girlfriend bot.
Oh wow! Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then then there's the chatbot lady, but let's get on to Tommy's question first.
Okay, go for it.
So Tommy's asked, do you reckon business owners who hate tech are going to be disadvantaged long term? So I'll let you go first because I have thoughts. But
do I reckon business owners that hate tech are going to be disadvantaged long term? Is that what the question was?
Yeah.
Yes. is the short answer. Depending on the business. Long term, yeah, I would say the ones that aren't in the tech world will be the guys that are holding onto the fax machines today, kind of thing, when the bell curve is said and done. And I'm not happy about saying that because I love the real world, but business is fast. It's completely tech orientated now, and I can't see it. Hang on, let me step that back. There is an element to creating a world in the private where you use tech to a certain degree and still keep some private conversation happening. If you're across that conversation, you can manage the robots in your world. If you're not, you're going to end up pretty much, yeah, people that aren't in the tech world will probably get left behind. How's that?
I kind of agree, but I think it depends on how you approach it. You don't have to like something to utilize it.
Very true.
Like there's plenty of tech things that drive me insane that we use. I absolutely love the advantages of going through data and being able to read data and see where we're at and stuff like that. I hate inputting data. It's like absolutely, like I get other people to do the data input for me and then just check back that it's done correctly because it drives me insane. Can't tell you why. It just I love the data, but putting it in absolutely sucks. So I think it just depends on your perspective to what you do with it. I think if you're resistant to utilizing it in any way, form, or manner, then you have the potential to be disadvantaged depending on your industry.
It's industry dependent.
Yeah, look. There's always going to be a space. Like it's like we're in a digital world. We're in here. We're talking like this. Like we're online all the time talking to each other. Right?
Yeah.
Like in fact, the first time that we meet in person is going to be in May.
I know. I'm going to be like, wow.
right. So like that. So when you look at it that way, like. There is I actually work with a lot of people in person as well. So there's people that are resistant to doing anything like this and they only want to work face to face. And that's okay. And I think there will be a place for things like that, but it depends on the outcomes that you want to get. Right?
Yeah.
And the disadvantage comes if you are working in a space where AI can revolutionize the business and you are resistant to that change, then you're going to have some challenges. Like, so for example, I want to take it back to a little bit to something that everyone can picture very easily, right? We used to do everything by fax, and now you can do it by email. So if you're standing there at a fax machine and you've got 100 people to send a fax to, and I can, in my email marketing section, click one button and that sends that email to 100 people. But in the same amount of time that you fax 100 things, I could have found probably another 1,000 people, if not more, that I could email and email them.
But remember when the fax machine came out, we were like, wow, how does that work?
Yeah. And it's no different to like, if we can, for some people, it's going to be like doing Morse code as opposed to using a mobile phone to make a sales call kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's so in other terms, like it might be if you don't use AI well, that's where you could potentially be disadvantaged. If you've got let's say, for example, you try and automate your sales process and you've got a really amazing sales team and you put in AI to take over that, you potentially could destroy your whole business if you don't.
Completely, yeah. Yeah. So it's all about learning how to drive it. I'd love to know what Tommy's business is. It would be interesting to know what he thinks. So if he's still there, it'd be great to hear his thoughts. Good question. Great question, because we're on the cusp, right?
Thanks for hopping on and joining us, Tommy. Good luck with your call.
Oh, you can see the comments. I can't see what they're.
Yeah. Sorry, he said that he's just got to jump off.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're at the cusp, right? We're at a very interesting time. It's been called the changeover years at the moment, and we're sort of in those right now for the next couple of years. So it's going to be very interesting by 2026, 2027 to see where we're sitting, where a lot of the things that are going to come through will have come through. So I'm often looking at the tech we're using now and the products we're creating at the moment and seeing how they'll fit in, say, 26, 27 and what the business will look like then. That's kind of where I'm thinking. And it's hard to imagine what it's going to look like, but, you just keep your ear to the ground to see.
I would say majority of AI products and tools and things that we're using right now in 3 years' time, we won't be using.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because the evolution of how quickly technology compounds, because once we get it to a certain point, it's a lot easier for us to get it to the next point, and then it's easier again, and we just cut down the time that grows.
All about back to the inputs and outputs, right? Back to that conversation. All right, the last one, potential for misinformation and errors. So this is crucial at the moment. That is ChatGPT. It says it everywhere. In fact, it's saying it down here. Just check all the time. It's wrong a lot, not a lot of the time, but it's wrong. So you need to still know what you're doing. Back to that, you need to know what you're doing. It doesn't know everything yet. As we say, maybe in 2026, I'll send my robot to Cairns instead, right? And you can send yours, Michael, and they can meet each other. Right?
But treat it like a Wikipedia page, right? Like most of it is on point, but anyone can edit it. So there's going to be some stuff
I like
that,
it.
and not even intentionally, they believe that. Doesn't make it your truth. Let's say your truth rather than saying anyone's right or wrong. But like there are some blatant misinformations that are there, but there's blatant misinformation in the world everywhere, and that's why that's being replicated.
Yes, exactly.
And,
all right.
And we can go from everything to flat Earth to all kinds of different things.
Oh, no, there's some topics. I don't know how relevant that
I just stopped. I was like, not today.
It's the firmament, right? It's the dome. We're gonna have some fun with that one. If anybody wants us to talk about flat Earth, by all means, yell out. We could definitely crack open some conversations. But whether it relates to business, social media,
don't bring me into that. Don't do it.
It's actually funny we could finish on that, because when there is those conversations floating around, like I've watched TikTok blow up around these conversations over the last 12 months. What was considered very underground is now on top of the ground, right? And I look at the distraction that it causes rather than the focus, right? Like it doesn't really matter whether the Earth's flat or not, right? At the end of the day.
That's a really good way to look at it, because it doesn't, like, honestly, how much does it really impact your life?
Yeah. At the moment, if we're spinning on a ball, I haven't felt it. And if we're diving off the edge, I haven't felt it, right? And I don't know enough about the world that it's going to affect my business strategy in my lifetime right now.
If you can still get on a plane and get somewhere, you don't actually have to know how the plane works or where it's taking you, as long as it gets you to that place. For all you know, when we're in a plane, it takes 5 minutes to get everywhere in a plane, but they just drive around in circles because they want you to feel like you're getting your money's worth of that trip.
Is that right? And how else are you going to whinge about the food? Right? You haven't been on there long enough.
Yeah.
So anyway, on that note, it's been great talking to you about AI, Michael, and talking to our guests today. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your questions. If you've got any afterwards after the event, drop them in the chat below. We're going to do a bit of a series, aren't we, the next couple of weeks, Michael, around social media and the core sort of essentials around social. So this is really for small business owners doing it themselves that want to get a lot out of socials. We're going to look at the 4 C's of social and see what, setting up a good account looks like, getting involved in your strategies and on your platforms to get the most out of them as a busy small business owner who's doing it themselves. So that'll be a 4-week sort of series looking at ringing out social media platforms for all their worth, posting with purpose and all that stuff. So join me and Michael in the coming weeks for that. If you've got any social media questions or online marketing questions around branding and communication and talking and connecting and all of the awesome things that social is for, drop them in the comments. And if you've got any AI tools that you're using for it, let us know, because that'd be fun. If you want to jump on one of our conversations and have a chat with us, we'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, have a good week. Don't you think, Michael? Have a good week, Michael. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great week, guys. And thank you, Katrina, as always.
Thank you. That was awesome. See you soon.